my Uso, I love you.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to the podcast Catch Up with the Usos. You're here today live with myself and a very honored guest, one of my best friends out here, Jake Leausa. And also that intro song is by, that shout out to Standard Music. Those are the Usos that inspired our theme song today. And so, yeah, definitely. And also, first of all, thank you, Jake, for your time. It's good to have you, man.
Hey, I'm extremely thankful that you had me come on here, bro. Especially doing one of my good Usos.
Yep. So, Jake, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up, and just a little bit about yourself and your journey.
So a little bit about myself. I was actually born in Laguna Hills, California, and shortly after moved to Utah. Grew up in Salt Lake. Met my beautiful wife at UVU. That's pretty much where people go if they can't make it into BYU. So those of you that are listening that don't know. But yeah, I live up here in Provo, Utah now, where I actually met Leausa. And man, everything has been a blessing since literally since Leausa actually came into my life. So this dude, if you guys need somebody to listen to and take advice from, seriously, this dude, he got it. So anyway, man, having me on your podcast, that was kind of a shock to me because I'm like, dang, who am I? I'm not anybody special, you know what I mean?
Hey, no, straight up. Like, honestly, me and Jake go way back. I only met Jake like what, two years ago, and now we're just kicking it, man. It's pretty good. It's been an awesome journey. So Jake, tell us, right now I know you as an Uso, but this week being Mental Health Week and Mental Awareness Week, especially within the Polynesian community, what were, just going straight into it, nitty gritty, what has been some of the good things about mental health that since meeting up with Usos and things like that? What's been the best thing for you?
Yeah, you know what? The vibe is pretty crazy. It's a lot different, especially for me, just because, I'm Afagasi, so I come from two different sides of the same coin. Where what I mean by that is like, growing up with having, the Palangi side, where, Palangis are more serious with a lot of the things that they're more logical, I guess. You know what I mean? Whereas the Polynesian side, we're kind of like laid back, and if something happens, it happens. We just kind of go with the flow kind of thing. And so what I've learned, man, being with around a lot of the poly, especially the ones that kind of got it together, really know how they pretty much you just call the Polynesian people avatars because they got all kinds of powers. You know what I mean?
Right.
They just know how to make things happen. One thing that I do like about our Polynesian people is like we're really we're really like people friendly. You know what I mean? Like we're able to connect with people a lot better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so it's easier for us to talk to people, connect with people, and like with everything going on in the world today, I think just being able to connect with people, that's like number one key. Having connections.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm glad that how we met was through connection. Connecting with each other.
Exactly. And I think that's probably something that I really took advantage of. Like back in New Zealand and back where I growing up, like, man, life was boring if you weren't around your friends, eh? But then I think one of the things that is the biggest stress within our Polynesian community is, and that's how mental health goes down, is the financial side of things. Being financially stable, reaching those financial goals, and then also providing for our family. I think what you mentioned about us being family oriented and being connected as a community is a big thing, especially with mental health. And I think that is a starter for me, especially moving to a new country. But you've got the beauty of both worlds. You're Afakasi. What are some of the things that you see in the Polynesian life that are different to the Palangi side of your life?
There's a lot of stuff. So probably the first thing is the way that we show respect is a lot different from the Palangi side. And what I mean by that is, when we walk in a room, a lot of the time we can kind of already tell like the vibe of the room. We know where we sit, where we stand. Whereas more at the Palangi side is, you could go into a room and not care about anybody's feelings. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whereas Polynesians, we walk in a room and we care about everybody's feelings. Like we understand like where the respect lies, and that goes for a lot of other things. Like going into someone's home. I've noticed like Palangi side, they don't care. They walk in your house with their shoes. They don't really care if you have about just respecting that, just even though it's so small, but that goes a long way, you know what I mean? Whereas us Polynesian people, we walk in your house and we know like, okay, this is not my house, and that's not the pot that I cook at, that's not where I make my meals. This is somebody else's house, so I need to show respect. So I take off my shoes and you're the host of the house kind of thing. Whereas the Palangi side, I'm not gonna say all Palangis, but most Palangis, they'll walk in just like, okay, this,
Yeah.
this is my house, do whatever I want.
So
But,
that follow part, huh?
yeah, exactly. Yep. But
Man. So
go
with
ahead.
no. So with me asking this question, I think I want to give a little bit of context of why, a lot of the audience are going to be asking me like, why are you asking Jake about Balangi side or the financial side? A lot of people don't know this, but Jake, you did really well with trading. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I got into trading like 2015. 2015, I came across the markets, the foreign exchange markets. And anyways, just to make a long story short, I started trading for a couple years, and for a while, I got pretty successful. But yeah, things. One thing with I think this is the Polynesian side of me is like I got really big headed, and my pride took over.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say is like I pretty much forgot God in my life. Like I stopped putting Him first, and that was the biggest mistake I could have ever made, and that put me and my wife in a big, huge financial disrupt. And what I mean by that is like I lost everything, and so it kind of just it was a turning point for me to realize I need to put God back into my life. And once I did, long story short, things really started to just pick back up. Like everything I've ever wanted or desired, I was pretty much just given, especially putting God back in my life and asking for what I wanted. He was like, okay. He's like, I think you're ready here. Here you go.
Absolutely. And so I think that's also the big part, like the Polynesian side as well, is finding out that, God is a big part of where we are and how we move forward. I just want to take you back. I want to take you back to that part where you lost everything. How was that mentally for you? Like, how did you deal with
that? Dang, it was hard. I think it's mostly because growing up, just as a poly, I can't really speak for everyone, like even my belonging side, because I don't know how it is for them. But when you're growing up, usually you're having to prove yourself, and you don't really care about yourself, but you care about everybody else. You know what I mean? I don't know if that will relate to anybody else, but for me, after being married, I had to care for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like my wife. And so me not caring about myself, not really caring what happens to myself, that mentality had to go because now I have somebody else I had to care for. And so when that happened, man, everything, so me emotionally, spiritually, physically, just hit rock bottom just because it wasn't for me. It was just knowing that I put my wife in a situation like that where we almost had nothing, you know what I mean? And so it sucked. It hit me pretty hard. But go ahead, Us. I know you're about to say something.
No, yeah, I definitely understand that. Like you put yourself in a situation. I mean, obviously, when thinking about it, what kind of changed, your perspective, or how did you deal with the emotional part of losing everything? Because that was a big toll, right?
Yeah, it was. Really, to be honest, when all that happened, it put me on my knees. I knew I had to pray. I knew I needed to go back and ask the main person that is going to be able to make everything happen for me again to put him back into my life. Those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, sorry. Hopefully it's not weird because I have you on another screen, and so I'm looking up.
No, you cool, bro.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
good. It's good.
But yeah. So I knew I had to get back on my knees and ask the Lord for help. But in that situation, I was just looking for work afterwards, because I went. So I traded for about 3 years. I went almost 2.5 years where I just did that full time. I was just doing that full time.
Yeah.
And then when I lost everything, then I tried to go back to work. And literally, I thought $15 an hour was like making it. I was like, dang, $15 an hour. This is pretty good, compared to like what everybody else is making. But I knew in the back of my head, I'm like, dang, man, I was making like $7,000 a day, like within 2 or 3 hours.
What? Bro, that's crazy,
huh?
Man.
Yeah, it's a different feeling. But yeah, as time moved on, still, putting the Lord first. And this is the crazy part. So I wasn't consistent, I was just kind of, I knew I was supposed to put the Lord first. I was probably reading my scriptures, saying my prayers here and there, like every so often, maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started doing it consistently that everything started changing for me. And this took years, and this was actually after me and you met. So this is crazy. Wow. So this will be good for your viewers to know. But me and Leausa, something that not a lot of people know is me and Leausa, we had a talk in the car. And Leausa, man, for some reason I'm like, dang, why is the Lord like blessing this guy? Like the Lord is really blessing this guy for some reason. And one thing he told me in the car, he was like, yeah, you know what? And he didn't even realize it. He was just like, yeah, you know what? Every morning or, every day I try to sit with the Lord and pray and just have my scripture study, like spiritual study. I'm like, dang, that's what I'm missing. That's the thing I'm not doing. You know what I mean? And the moment I started to apply that just consistently, instead of every so often, every day, dang, things started just popping up out of nowhere. Leausa helped me get this job. Me and him both started making 6 figures. And I ended up starting my own business. And that's what I'm doing now.
Yep.
And there's other things that we're actually still in the works, getting things rolling, starting to do. We won't bring that up. We'll probably have you'll probably have some other people come on and explain that. But yeah, things are going really well. And it's because the Lord is, showering us with his blessing, especially since we're putting him first. And I really got to thank you, because you helped me realize what I was missing. So that's true love right there.
Yeah, Mauso. Don't worry, I'll pay you $5 later. But
tell me to say that.
But I think you bring up a very good, valid answer there as well. I think with mental awareness and mental health, part of the process is that we change our focus. We change our focus from being down in the dumps to looking for, to choosing and looking for the good things that happen in our life. And I definitely feel that's something awesome that a lot of our people bring. And I think the Lord, like, as much of us, like catching up with the Usos, we can talk about sports, we can talk about, what we do in our lives. But I think if we get together and talk about God, as well as, how that correlates with our cultural side of things, we definitely realize that we are like very sensitive to the Spirit of God, because of who we are. Like, just to kind of have a small correlation, like, we must have had faith, like crazy faith, to be able to navigate across the vast oceans back at when our ancestors were here. And I think same things here, like navigating towards life and making through difficulties. We get those that beauty of faith, but also understanding and choosing to be happy, right? It's a choice.
Man, that's true.
And me and Jake had this conversation the other night about us seeking the right things in life, and I think Jake is right. We got a job. We're currently on the way to making 6 figures, and we've got a lot of different plans. And I think what changed our mindset, Us? What do you think changed our mindset with us working a 15-hour job to trying to make as much money as possible, bro. What thing changed our what do you think changed our mindset?
I think it was just the possibility, knowing that it can happen.
Mm,
Uh, Especially with us being entrepreneur minded,
yeah.
a lot of people like the hourly aspect
Mm,
of, oh, I can make $15 an hour, I can make $10 an hour because it's secure.
mm,
Whereas with what we jumped into, you have to have that entrepreneur mindset, knowing how much you're worth.
yeah.
And I think that we knew like, dang, I'm worth more than like $15 an hour, or I'm worth more than $20 an hour, And so we gave it a go, and shoot, there we were making like what, 10,000 a month,
Uh-huh.
10,000 one paycheck,
Yeah.
over
and
10 grand a paycheck.
bro, and I think that's the defining difference. I think a lot of people, they don't realize that um other people are doing this. Hey, and I think
Yeah,
like for us, I think for me, the thing that changed my mindset is I see other people. Like for me, I'm proud. I'm proud to be Samoan. I'm proud to be Polynesian. But then I look at other people and I look around what I'm going through, and the only reason why I see Polynesians making that type of money that I want to make is they're either acting or they're either playing sports. Those are the
yeah,
only two reasons that I see like Polynesians making it. You have the select few who are making it business wise, who are making their dreams come true, like with running businesses and things like that. And I think once we are able to start changing our mindsets to understand that, like, hey, that guy is, making six figures. What's he doing that I'm not doing? Or what does he know that I don't know? And not to kind of bring this into a Balangi essence, but I think a big thing that a lot of us, like, honest, me being full Samoan and
yeah,
like me living in Utah where there's a bunch of Balangis making millions and millions of dollars, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, Sully, like, what do these Balangis know that I don't know? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
what are they doing that I'm not doing? They breathe the same air, they've got the same food, we're drinking the same water. Sully, what's the difference? You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I think that's the thing that really a lot of us need to get out of the mindset is that, our avenues of making it as not just sports or not just acting or not just music. We are able to make our own legacy or our own path to freedom, which is time and money, not just money, it's time and money. Because think about it. If you feel that when you make it, you're just making a whole lot of money, but you've 24 hours a day, you're sitting in the computer room trying to trade. That's not freedom. Freedom is
Yeah,
time and money. Time to spend with your family, time to spend on everything else, and where money is not an object. That's when you make it. And then I think one thing apart from that is happiness, Eos, is when you're truly happy, when you don't have to worry, there's no worries, but you really have that happiness of like, life is really here. Like, I can live my best life.
that's
You know?
true.
But bro, like when you were making those, like when you were in the hype of all of your training, I mean,
Mhm.
what was the greatest thing that kind of you realized as an entrepreneur, like a Polynesian entrepreneur?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. I think in like my peak moment where I made that kind of money, and when I actually withdrew it and it came out. Well, I guess when it transferred to my bank and I was able to pull it out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, holy cow, this is crazy. I have a strategy in my head
Yeah.
uh, where nobody else has. And so, I could actually teach this to people, but
Mm-hmm.
it's locked into my brain. And so I have a skill set that I can actually use to make this kind of money where, growing up, just like you said, like, Polynesia, you grow up with your parents, they just want you to go play sports because
Yeah.
here in America, especially the ones that come from the islands, like my dad, he came from Western Samoa, and here he always wanted his sons to play in the league,
Yeah.
and since I'm one of the oldest, he was always on me, to play in the league. And I chose a different path, and he's always been upset because of that. But it was just something that I wanted to do. I've always just been that kind of person where I was more entrepreneur minded,
Mm-hmm.
where I knew I want to do some sort of business or hustle some sort of way, but playing football for the rest of my life wasn't really like, I loved it, but it wasn't a true passion like it was for my dad. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of Polynesians that fall into that mindset where like, man, this is the only way I can make money, they're wrong. And a lot of those people that don't make it into the league, sometimes they're stuck doing yate work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't know that there's other ways where you can make six figures or more doing something different that will bring your family money. But they just don't know. They like, for me, I never knew about entrepreneurship until I came back from a mission and I ran into a Palangi friend who said, hey, check out this meeting. It was an MLM, right? But that MLM made me realize, wow, I could be my own boss. I could work for myself. I just need to go recruit people. And so that was that. I think that was the first moment where I realized, like, dang, networking is so important because it's not about what you know, but who you know. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And if you know the right people, then you can get hooked up in great places.
Bro, and that's the crazy thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I've been in a couple of MLMs myself. For those of you who don't know what an MLM stands for, it's a multi-level marketing business. So some businesses are like that, are like Amway, or New Skin, or what are some?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot, like
there's a
Melaleuca.
bunch. Yeah, Melaleuca. Those are what you call MLMs, or multi-level marketing schemes, where people are able to join your team, where they're able to recruit more people and bring in more business, or you become a store and people come and purchase the business. It's pretty much where you become like a franchisee, where they come to your house and purchase the goods, or they can do that over the line. So that's what a MLM is. And this, I think a lot of reasons why MLMs are successful because of us Polynesian people is because we trust really hard, and then
Yeah.
we love really hard as well. And I think that's why for me, I fell into it, because I was like, oh man, like, yo, I could make a lot of money, but the first people that we always recruit are our cousins or our brothers or sisters or our parents. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
for real.
And that's always the truth, man. I
Yep.
remember so many times I'm like, Mom, want to join my MLM, my new company? And bro, because my mom loves me or my siblings love me, they always jump in. And that's the thing I think that a lot of people love about multi-level marketing businesses is, you're able to connect with people, but because we are a big community, that word gets around really fast about, your business and things like that. So now, yeah, I definitely commend you on how far you've come. But another thing that I want to talk a little bit about is, you said that you've started your own business, and how's like how's that being a business owner, like a literal business owner? Like, you haven't got this from everyone. This is from the ground up, right?
Yeah, so this is pretty crazy. So I've always known I never wanted to have a boss tell me what to do, you know. Even though me and Leausa, he really has blessed my life, being in my life, and the Lord, I know the Lord has worked through him. Sorry for those that aren't religious, but God works in mysterious ways and really put Leausa in my life. And so um, the way that God was able to work with me is, putting an opportunity that was going to be in my path to lead me to another opportunity, to what I actually desired. And so I told God what I desired, and I desired to be my own boss, right? And so he put the little steps for me to walk a path where I can make that happen. And so first was, getting the opportunity where me and you, we were making six figures.
Yep.
And then, I branched off and I found an opportunity that was going to help me get to where I wanted. And so, yeah, I started my own business. I got my LLC. It was crazy because I haven't even marketed my business, and I started getting random calls. Like, people ask me, like, "Hey, is this a so business?" I won't say the business that I do, but yeah,
No,
they
say
asked me.
it. Please tell us what the idea is, because people would not believe you. I promise you.
All right. So the business that I left and started doing is probably the easiest, simplest business. It's the pallet business, and so everything in this world runs on a pallet, right? And so you can find these pallets easily for free, or you could buy them, and people don't really understand the worth of these pallets. And so what I've done is I pretty much built a business around just connecting a person that makes me pallets, and connecting a business that needs the pallets. And so what happens is the person that has pallets will bring over a couple hundred pallets to whoever the business I'm working with. And the business that I'm working with, they'll pay me, and then I'll pay my builder. And so that's how that kind of happens. And so usually you can sell a pallet for like $5-10. It just depends on the quality of the pallet. But I have businesses, they're buying hundreds of pallets from me a week. And yeah, so that's pretty much all it is. And I don't even have to do any of the legwork anymore. So I started off where I was picking up these pallets, and I was driving them over to businesses,
Yep.
and selling them little by little.
Yep.
But then in my mind, I'm like, man, there has to be a better way. And so I found out that some of these people that make these pallets, they'll drive over these pallets and drop them off. But anyway, so that, and just like, keeping it really short, is what I do for business is I connect people that make pallets to the businesses that need them. That's it. And I pay them out.
That is the craziest thing for all our listeners out there. Think about it. Jake is making money by selling pellets. That's how simple and how great, like this is, like, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people think like, what? He's got a pellet business, like selling pellets. But that's the craziest thing. Is like, it's monetary things, like, and it's not all about money, but it's being your own boss,
Yep.
And it's funny because I was with Jake today, and I'm still working at my job where me and Jake used to work together before he branched off. And I told him, man, I was like, "Oos, bro, man, I'm missing you at work, man. It sucks going to work
Yeah, that's
without
true.
seeing you or hanging with the Uso, But bro, big ups to the Uso right here, because man, I tell you what, who would have thought, a small Afakasi kid studying a pellet business, bro, is making money, and that's the craziest thing. Like, what? A lot of people think, like, out of all the ideas in the world, Mahuso came up with the pellet business, and think about how many companies use pellets. Like FedEx use pellets, UPS use pellets.
Yeah, and there's a lot of
US
holes in the
Post.
wall.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of big companies, but then there's a lot of smaller companies. They're like mom and pop shops.
Yep.
And they need pallets, and those are the ones that, I mean, this is a little nugget, but those are the ones that I look for, because shoot, just 50 to 100 pallets in one go, and you're selling them for like $5, $6, $7. I mean, that's a lot of money just for one day,
So like, people are not even making that much, and you're making that amount like in minutes. You're making $5-7 in minutes, and people are making $15 an hour. That's the craziest thing, And I think, a lot of people, especially being mentally strong, is that, we didn't start off with a business that was given to you, or you didn't start off with a business that was given to you. You kind of came up with it, right?
Yeah, so pretty much worked it from the ground up. I mean, there's, like you said, networking, that's something that really came in handy, because I had to go and pretty much knock doors. But this is going business to business,
Yeah.
when I first started, but I only had to do that for maybe like 2-3 weeks before I started really. I mean, you just got to find that one business, just that one business that's really going to bless your life. Shoot, and that's what happened.
So that's the craziest thing. Hey, you're studying it. Like, if you're ashamed, it's not gonna happen. If you're real like ashamed to go out there and knock doors, Saleh, man,
That's true, dude.
it's kind of like the same thing. If you're ashamed to go and get the amount of food that you want at a buffet, then you're gonna leave the buffet hungry.
Yep.
But it's the same thing with business. If you're not confident enough to go out there and start from the ground up, knocking on doors, doing that tread work, that humble work at the start, your business is not going to go anywhere. And I think that's probably one of the gems that I think is awesome. So with that being said, Jake, also, like, what's some advice that you would have for some of our people, or especially some of our Polynesian brothers and sisters who are thinking of starting a business, but what would you say to them, to give them a little bit of a push to kind of jump, take the leap of faith?
Yeah. So I think when you start your own business, I know a lot of our people do have that passion, especially because the whole reason you're going into sports and trying to do that stuff is because you have that passion to make money for your family. But my advice would be, if you are looking into, starting up your business, do something that you're passionate about. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're creative, do something that's creative. I mean, you don't have to go out there and use like, if you don't like working with your hands, but let's say you like to create things, right? Go on YouTube, just create something. If you want to create things online, people will buy it. They like your
Yeah.
creations, but you always got everyone starts at the bottom, no matter what. And then once you start putting work in and whatever you're passionate about, shoot, you're gonna start making money. And another thing, something else that I tried to do like a long time ago, that actually worked out is, I love dancing, right? And I know a lot of our Polynesian people, they freaking love dancing. You know what I mean?
Oh, my
But
man.
but the one thing is, like, for some reason, our people, they're really like big headed or prideful. Like, they don't want to go and talk to people or like try to recruit people. You know what I mean? Unless they've been forced in that kind of environment where they have to go, like, like either sell or go talk to people. If you want to start your own business, you have to go talk to people. You got to go put yourself out there. And so for dance, I actually started going to little studios and asking if I could, help out and stuff. And so I actually was a dance teacher for a little bit in Bountiful, and I taught in this little studio. Oh man, I forget what it's called, but I taught there for like maybe a couple months, and I was making $20 an hour just teaching little kids like popping and stuff.
Hey,
Hey,
if
is
you
that pretty
don't
tight?
know, my boy's got some moves. My boy's got some moves. I'm putting you on right now. My boy's got some moves.
Dang, all right. Hey, that was back
That's
in the
awesome.
day before the stomach, dude.
So I think before we all got stomachs, bro. But
For real.
man, that's awesome news. Now that with that being said, that being the worldly news, what is some spiritual I guess advice that you can give to some of our business owners or entrepreneurs?
Yeah, spiritual advice. I think that's the most important, especially with our people, just because, like, me and Leona, we talk about this sometimes, but we know for sure that our people are more sensitive to the spirit. And so, Polynesian aspect, just coming into that, I think it's important for us to be spiritually in tune. It's good to get your mind right, but if your spirit's not right as well, then you're not going to have that connection. You got to feed both. But it's so easy, so simple. God doesn't ask much of us, but he does ask for us to, seek him first.
Yep.
And then everything else will just be given to us, whatever we desire. But those of you that are, let's say, part of the LDS faith, better start paying your freaking tithing, right?
Hey, no matter what faith it is, pay your tithing.
Hey,
Pay
that's
your
true. No,
dues.
that's true. Okay, let's say anyone with Christian belief, because if you read the Bible,
Pay
paying
your
your
tithe.
tithes, that's so
Pay your
important.
tithes. Yep. Or the offering, if when they bring around the offering, give your right amount, give your allocated right, because the Lord will bless you, man. That's awesome. I love that, bro.
Hey, I want to bring something else up too, especially since we're on this topic. All right, so this is how crazy it is, putting your faith in the Lord and paying your tithing. Because, like I said before, how I was inconsistent, but once you start being consistent, just, saying your prayer, reading scriptures every day. But when you're getting paid out, the Lord's giving me that blessing of getting paid out. But the thing that I wanted to bring up was I want you to share your story of something that just happened to you not too long ago. Because this
Oh
guy,
man,
swear, like I said, this guy is freaking blessed.
dude, that's crazy. Oh well, just
I share it. There's the last one before, just like a finale before we go. Listen to this.
All right. So, man, I wonder who's running this interview, me or you? Nah, that's awesome. But just a quick synopsis of the story. I'm lucky and blessed to have the job that I have right now. Like, I've got awesome managers who are also who are also Christians, who also go to the same church that I belong to. And we talk about spiritual things as well, spiritual understanding, and also the love that we have for Christ. And if you don't have a lot of money, that's cool too. Come as you are. The Lord will accept you. The Lord will love you. But the thing is that when being in a employment situation, I didn't expect my manager to pull me aside after he gave me one-on-one training, and talk a little bit about my spiritual health as well as my my employment as well. And one of the things that he challenged me to do was, that in scriptures the Lord asks for 10% of your tithe. Now we have two options. You can either pay 10% of your net income or your gross income, which is before taxes, for those who don't know. And he challenged me. He said, yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So he challenged me to pay, a couple of months ago, he challenged me to pay the gross amount of my check, my pay for every week, rather than paying my net as a tithe or my offering to the Lord. And I can honestly tell you, man, like the last week has been awesome. I've had opportunities where I've made more money than some people make
a whole year.
in a year.
Whole year.
And that's the craziest thing that blows my mind, that I've made it in a month where people need 12 months to make that same, and I owe it all to God. I owe it all to God. I owe it all to my family, but also your friends, where, it's true what they say. The type of friends you have, and the type of family that you have will be the outcome of life that you will have, and so, now, yeah, that's just a little bit about what's going on. But no, trust me, man, I love that advice there also, where you said pay your tithing or pay your offering, because that is totally true. And if your offering is $1.50 because you got $10 for a week, pay it. Or $15 a week, whatever it is, pay it, because it shows the Lord that you're willing. Well, in the spiritual sense, it shows the Lord that you're willing to give up sacrifice. And he will give you a whole lot more, and it's not about money. It's not about money. It's about, and this is what I've come to know. It's not about money. It's about us willing to sacrifice a small amount of our pleasures to Heavenly Father, so that he can give us a whole lot of pleasure, or in terms of like blessings, or, because we're blessed to have those jobs. But once we, get those jobs, it's what we do with those jobs, to show Heavenly Father how much we care, or how much we appreciate the blessing. But now, yeah, Usna, thanks for putting me on, bro, man. Got to do me like that.
No, for real. People need to hear. He's being super humble. We won't say the amount, but just know, like, it 5 figures plus.
It's definitely something that I didn't expect, but the Lord put me in a position, and blessed me with awesome management that helped me a lot. I didn't pull this off on my own. Like, this is a lot of work from a lot of my managers who are able to help me, and I'm blessed to have the job that I have. But yeah, no, it's like, honestly, like just a couple of things, man. It's been awesome to know you, Us. It's been awesome to have you on this ride, man. It's one of my ride or dies. And what would you? Last question for you before we finish up today, Us, is what is your advice to all those haters, all those lokoleangas out there, man? What is your advice to them, man? Give it to them like Adesanya gave it to Costa last night, Us.
My advice to all the haters is, if you got something to say, then yo, this is my street. Nah, but for real though, haters give fuel to the opportunists. So you know what? You're always gonna have haters, no matter what. You're gonna have people doubting you. Like I've always had people always just be like, oh yeah, that'd be cool if that did happen, or that'd be cool to make that kind of money.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between a dreamer and a doer, and I feel like a lot of our people, especially, are dreamers. They're like, oh, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could do this. Like, dang, just freaking make it happen then. You know what I mean?
Mate, you gotta walk the walk and talk the talk, Or I should have said the other one: talk the talk and then walk the walk out. So, yeah. Just Do it, man. Make it happen. Make it happen. But I think a lot of things that we don't realize, it's sometimes our own people that pull us down when we have those opportunities. And so, for all of you local leangas and all of you haters out there, God loves you. Okay. And for all of you out there who want to support, keep on supporting, because it's people like you that, the blessings do come around. Goodness will come around. This is the last part of the segment of our podcast. There's quick flash questions and one-worded answers. So, Jake, here it is. Who's your favorite rap artist right now, bro?
My favorite rap artist right now?
Yeah. Of all time.
Oh, of all time. I mean, shoot, I grew up in the 90s, so, I was born in the 90s, so I'm going to just say it's Tupac.
Tupac? Okay.
Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh, that's a good choice. Good choice. Bone Thugs and Harmony. And then favorite ice cream mousse?
Favorite ice cream, cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream, okay. And if you could eat one place for the rest of your life, where would you eat?
One place for the rest of my life?
Yep.
Dang. I'm going to have to say... Dang, one place for the rest of my life.
See, that's the question that a lot of us
That's
know,
good.
but we don't know.